Hello, my name is Lano and this is my instructional design plan. This plan includes a lesson on waves and their parts and how it relates to wave energy. The performance context for the instructional design plan is as follows. The grade level that I teach is grade 8. The subject area is science. The unit is waves and information transfer from the next generation science standards. Specifically, we are looking at wave components and how they relate to energy. And for the context, this content relates to other levels of the system by being a foundation to expand on the other standards in the unit. If students are unable to identify wave height in relation to energy, then they will struggle with other standards such as transmission and digital versus analog. Transmission and digital versus analog are the other two standards held within the Wave and Information Transfer unit. The instructional goal and needs. The instructional goal for this design plan is that students should be able to identify and analyze 5 wave components of simple transverse waves in relation to the wave's energy. The needs can be identified by a pretest. For example, students improperly identifying wave components, misconceptions that pitch and frequency are the same variable, and students that do not relate volume to wave energy. These symptoms signal a problem because they begin as misconceptions which must be disproved before reteaching the instructional component. Students must know the proper parts of the wave before they are able to refer to them during analysis. Students must differentiate between pitch and frequency before they can relate them to energy. And students need to understand that volume can impact wave energy, where both of these are intangible objects. After identifying needs by the pretest, we can move on to how students can reach their goal. This can be best described by a goal analysis diagram. The goal analysis diagram is as follows. You see the instructional goal at the top, and then you have 5 components that then connect everything together in order to achieve your instructional goal. Instruction and learning should go from the bottom to the top and left to right to ensure that all components are met in order to reach your instructional goal. One way to ensure that you have met your instructional goal is through the application of an instructional strategy. One instructional strategy used in this design plan is a graphic organizer. The graphic organizer in this unit contains a simple transverse wave in rest position. There are then spaces to label each of the wave components. This graphic organizer can be used to support the pretests in order to gather entry-level skills, uses a material to support instruction during note-taking and simulations, and finally as a post-test to see if students have learned to label all of the components. The graphic organizer can be used as an assessment as well. The assessments for this unit contains a pre- and post-test. The test will consist of a simple transverse wave and blanks for each labeled component. This will count as the pretest for entry-level skills. You may use the graphic organizer to administer your pretest. If a student does not have any prior knowledge of waves or lack these entry-level skills, I will be sure to include relevant examples of waves such as beach waves and earthquake waves in order to develop those skills throughout the lesson. This type of information can be given after you have graded and reviewed the pretest. After the instruction, I will give students the same set of questions as their post-assessment. This will allow me to directly compare their understanding from before to after teaching. This will count as a formative assessment to check knowledge acquisition. Assessments are a great way to see what learning has taken place and how effective your teaching has been. It's important to note that assessments are just as informative for the student as they are for the teacher themselves. This brings us to the method to determine success. In order to determine if this lesson plan has become successful, you will evaluate your pre- and post-test. After grading the pretest, I will set an attainable goal of how many students will increase at a certain percentage. After administering the post-test, you can check to see if you've met the goal and attained your required level of student learning. These types of activities will act as checkpoints in order to inform both the teacher and students of their learning and needs. The whole plan will be assessed by the increase of scores from pre to post test. It is an organized and quantitative measure of results. If for some reason the pre to post tests do not show an increase, then the plan will be deemed unsuccessful. You will then need to reevaluate the post-test results, seeing what areas were not met, and make sure that you reteach with different instructional strategies. Finally, this brings us to the reflection process. My overall impression is that the instructional design process is well thought out and organized. I have taught with these instructional strategies prior to this plan, but with the addition of the pre and post test, I feel that it is a great way to measure student learning and successful teaching. This plan will be beneficial to my learners as it provides consistent and worthwhile feedback, contains engaging learning strategies, and aligns to a content standard. I have learned that in order to be an effective teacher, planning must be a critical component to your lessons. Without proper planning, not all students may meet the goal or find appropriate access to the content. In addition, plans should be consistently reevaluated year after year with reflective teaching and new alignment to the needs of current students. I found this process to be very reflective and worthwhile and will benefit me in future instructional designs. I have recently become part of the curriculum writing for 8th grade science in my district. I hope to bring these ideas to when we write new curriculum and make sure that they all align correctly to an instructional design plan. Here are my citations for this project. I use a citation from the Next Generation Science Standards. From going through this instructional design plan, it is very important that you start with your standard to ensure that your whole plan is aligned with the correct needs of the students. Thank you.